Hello everyone, welcome back to the next video. In this video I will show you how to do biometric face, fingerprint, pin or password authentication, this kind of local authentication in Expo React Native for both Android and iOS. Now let's get started, but remember that there is a big gotcha if you are trying to do face authentication for Android, which I will tell you later on. So first let's start it by creating a project. So I have written few cheat sheet for myself. So this is how I create a project. I don't use this default one because it comes with lot of things. I use this blank TypeScript template because I don't want a lot of things in my project. Also I will be making use of ExpoNativeModules. So if you there are a lot of third-party libraries already available, so if you don't want to write your own native code, maybe you can install those libraries directly. So just go to your workspace and just type this particular command, and I have pasted this particular command. It is asking me for my project name. I'll just name it as my app. Now this might take little bit of time because it will do npm installation and all that stuff, so be patient. So what I'll do is that I'll go over here, and here you can see this is my app. I'll just drag and drop inside VS Code. Okay, now here you can see that we don't have an Android and iOS folder. So for writing your own native module, we require the Android and iOS folder. Okay, now to create an Android and iOS folder, you will have to first go to this particular documentation, which I will open. So here you can see I have selected Android device. Build is development build. Don't use Expo Go, that is only for prototyping. And here I have unchecked this EAS option because I will be using my local for building my app. I don't want to use cloud service. I'm on Mac OS. Select your own operating system. Now here I have done all this setup already. Okay, so if you haven't done all this setup, you will have to do all this setup. So I have also installed Android Studio and all these things are already done. The important thing is we have to run this particular command. So I'll just copy it. So here my project is done. I'll just cd to my project. I will run this particular command. Now this will again do a bit of setup, so be patient. It might take little bit of time. Once that is done, again I will just scroll down, and we have to copy this particular command, npx expo run android. This will actually create the Android folder for us, and I don't have an Android emulator in my device. I try to use the real Android device for testing. So I will get an error. I mean it's not really an error. Like I will just run this particular command, and first it asks me for my Android package name. I'll keep it as default. I'll just click enter. Typically your package name should be com dot your company name dot your app name, but for me I think it is fine. So I'll just click on enter, and here you can see that it has created an Android folder for us, and it will try to do some Gradle setup. And I haven't connected my real Android device to my laptop. That's why in the end it will give me an error that I don't have any Android emulator and or a real device connected. That is fine because I don't want to run my app now. I will only run once the entire thing is completed. Okay, so let it do its own thing. Now for iOS, you will have to select iOS device. Okay, same thing. Again you will have to install Xcode and this command line tools. I have already done that. Then we have already run this command for Android, so we don't have to run it again. We just have to run this particular command. So I'll just copy it. So my Android thing is still running. Let's wait for it to complete. In the meanwhile, okay, let's just wait for it to complete because I don't want to confuse you all. And once that is done, we'll do the next step. So my Android stuff has finished and it has opened something like this. Okay, I don't want to run my app, so I'll just do Control C. Okay, then I will copy this command for iOS. So this will create the iOS folder for us, as well as it will do CocoaPod stuff as well. I'll just click on enter for the bundle identifier as well. And if you see over here, it will now create an iOS folder. So this is the iOS folder it has created. Again, this might take little bit of time, so be patient. The next thing what we have to do is we'll have to create our own module. So for that we can go to this particular URL. So I'll just open that, and here you can see this is how we create a native module or an Expo native module. And I'll just copy this particular command, and again we'll have to wait for this CocoaPod installation to be set up. So once this is done, I'll come back again. Okay, so my CocoaPod's installation is finished, and if I show you my terminal, it is telling me to select a device. I will just do Ctrl+C because I don't want to run my application right now. The next step, like I mentioned, is we have to create a native module, right? So for this we'll have to just copy this command, go to our terminal again and paste it over here. Now it will again ask us for a few questions like what should be the module name and all that stuff. So yeah, here it is. I'll just name it as my module. Okay, I click enter, click enter, click enter. Okay, it will download the npm dependencies for us. So it has finished. Ignore this, like this is some VS Code issue. Then we have to do pod installation for our CocoaPod. So if I go to the documentation again, here you can see it is telling us to do that. So I'll just paste that over here. So it will do pod installation for our newly created module. Now I'll just close this. Okay, I'll let it keep open. So here is our module file, native module. Now I have already created one practice project for myself, so I will be copying a lot of code from that, but I will try to explain you as much as I can. Okay, so first my practice project is inside the done folder. So first we'll look at for iOS. So for iOS, just go to the iOS folder. I'll go to my iOS folder. Okay, and here we'll go over here. Okay, sorry. Okay, modules, my modules, iOS, and I will open this file. Okay, so it has all the code for it. So I will now go to our real project, iOS, my module, module.swift. Okay, firstly, as you can see, we have to copy this import of local authentication. So I will just paste it over here. Next, scroll down. No, don't scroll down. We have to initialize our context, and we have to give a reason as well why we want to access this account. So you can change it to whatever you feel like. Change this particular string to whatever you feel like, but we have initialized it. Okay, then let's scroll down even further, and here you can see there are two methods which we will write. First of all, to get the available biometrics. So suppose if a device supports face authentication, then maybe you want to change the icon or change the text depending on whether it has face authentication or fingerprint authentication, or whether it does not have any authentication. So I have created two methods. One is called get available biometrics, and here for this I have created this method called get biometrics, which I will show you shortly. So just create a function. I'll copy this, I'll scroll down, I'll come over here, I will enter, and I'll copy paste it over here. Okay, then again I'll come over here, and this is the actual authentication part which we'll have to do. And this is an asynchronous function because authentication might take 1 second, 1 minute, we don't really know. So what I'll do is that I'll just copy paste all this code, and then I will explain it to you. Okay, so I'll just scroll up. So here is the async function. Now the indentation is little bit off, ignore this, you can just do it yourself. So we'll have a method called authenticate. It will run on the main thread. Here we have one variable for capturing any errors. So first we can check whether we can whether the device can do authentication with biometrics or not, and we pass our auth error, and if it can, then we do the authentication, so which you can see over here. So just copy paste this code. Once it is success, then we send this particular value back to React Native side. Okay, biometric authentication is success. Now you might wonder where this come from. So this is already defined when you create a native module in Expo. So if you scroll up here, you can see they have already used this send event. They have already defined this inside the TypeScript file as well, which I will show you shortly. That's what I'm using over here, same event. You can define your own event if you want to, but yeah, I'll just avoid that for now. Then here, in case of any error, as you can see, again I'm using the same event name, but the key name is different, called error. And in case if there is no biometric authentication available, again we do the same thing, we send this particular error back. Now again we have to write few other methods like this get available biometric method, which was used over here, right? So I'll just copy it, and here just leave one curly brace, paste it over here. Okay, so I think that should be it for iOS side. So there is few more things. So this is the code. Okay, in case this will help us to detect whether we have face, fingerprint or no biometric, and this will actually do the authentication in biometric. Okay, just scroll over here in case if you want to copy paste all the code, and this is for getting the biometric. Okay, now we require the permission as well. For that, what I will do, I will again copy paste from my original project. I'll open the info.p list because we require a permission. So I'll just scroll down, we require this particular permission. Okay, now what I'll do, I'll go to our real project iOS, my app, info.p list, scroll down, and here I will add this particular thing. Here you can add your own app name, so my app, whatever is your app name is, and here we are requesting for this NS Face ID usage description permission. Okay, so this is done as well. Now again we'll go back to my module inside my practice project. This might be little confusing for you, but yeah, I don't want to write all the code by myself, as that is very difficult for me to remember all the code. So I'll just open this index.ts. Okay, so what you will have to do is again go to your module src, not src, index.ts, and we have to define these two methods which we have defined inside our native code, this get available biometric as well as authenticate. So I've already done this. So here you can see this is the authenticate method and this is the get available biometric. So I'll just copy it inside my modules, I'll paste it over here. Then again I'll go back, I'll copy this as well, and I'll paste it over here. So here you can see that the on change event which we were using inside our authenticate method to send data back, it is already defined inside our Expo module, so we don't have to do anything. So if you want to use something other, then maybe you'll have to change this. Also, if you go to src my modules types dot here, if you remember, apart from sending the value as a key, we sometimes also send the error in case of any error. So here we have to also add error. Okay, so I'll add error colon string. So make sure you add this as well. I think that should be it for iOS, so I will just close everything. Now we'll go to Android. Again I'll go back to my practice project to copy some code. Firstly I'll open build.gradle, and here we have to copy this particular dependencies. So go to build.gradle and scroll down and we'll copy this dependency. Then here we'll go to src main, go to android manifest.xml. No, not this one, sorry, we have to go to the main Android folder, app src main. Have I added that permission or not? I don't remember, let me quickly check. Okay, so here you can see I have added this use biometric permission. So I will just copy it, go to my Android folder, app src main android manifest.xml, and I will just add this particular permission over here below the internet permission. These all permissions are by default present inside an Expo project. I don't know why they require all this permission, read, write, external, I don't know. Anyways, we require the use biometric permission which I have added. Again I'll just close down the Android, we'll go to this main Android of our module. Again I'll go over here, modules, my module, Android, src main, Java, Expo. This is my practice project again. So I'll open this particular file. Okay, and here inside our real project src main java, I'll open this particular file. So first, as you can see, we have to copy all these imports. So I will just copy these imports and I'll paste it over here. So we don't need these two, sorry, because these are duplicate. I have already have them. So I'll just do Ctrl S. So I have copied the imports. Next we have to copy this bit of code as well. So I'll copy that and I'll paste it over here. Okay, again make the indentation according to you, it's little off. Then as you can see, we are defining biometric executor prompt as well, and here we are getting context as well as our activity. Then similarly we have to define two methods, authenticate for doing the authentication and get available biometrics. So here you can see. So first I'll just copy this get available biometrics, which will tell us what kind of biometrics we have. So again you have to leave two curly braces. Okay, and here you can just copy paste it. So this is how we will get our get available biometrics. So the method name I have kept it same both for Android and iOS just to avoid issues. So this is how we can get okay. Then for actually doing the authentication, I'll copy this code as well. Okay, and I'll have to paste it over here. So here you can see it is an asynchronous function. Here we are creating our handler, then our biometric manager, then we are trying to do authenticate. Now be careful with this biometric weak, strong as well as device credential. So what I'm basically doing there is that I think the face ID is biometric strong and the fingerprint is biometric weak, and here is our device credential. So I'm checking all three of this. Even if any one of this is present inside the user's Android device, I'm authenticating by that. If it is success, then I just do call this login method, which I will show you shortly. In case of any error, again we call this error key, the same event, and just send whatever is the error. Okay, same for hardware not available, not enrolled, security update required, error unsupported, and biometric status. Okay, then we'll have to copy this login method as well. So I'll just copy this because that is what is used inside our actual authentication. So I'll just copy this entire thing. Again you just have to be careful of these curly braces, just leave one curly brace, copy this login method. So here we are creating our executor. So this login method is called over here, if you forgot over here. So as you can see, we are creating our executor, then we create a biometric prompt, change the title, subtitle to whatever you feel like. Again I am checking all three of this, then building it. Then here we create our biometric prompt, then we just typecast our activity to a fragment activity, and once there is any error, again I just use the same thing to send the error back. In case if it succeeds, I use the value key of our on change event and send a successful message back, change the success message to whatever you feel like. And in case of failure, we set it something like this, and here we call authenticate. So that's it for Android side. Click save. Again I'll close everything. Hopefully that should be it. Okay, why is this giving error? Okay, anyways, yeah, this is fine. Now how to use it, just go to app.tsx. again I'll just open my practice project so that I can just copy paste all this code. I'll go to app.tsx. So here you can see I have imported all these three, these two methods as well as the event listener. Now for event listener we have to use effect, so that because the authentication can be done any point of time because it is an asynchronous operation. And we also have to import use effect from React. So I'll just copy that and I'll paste it over here. So as you can see, I'm printing both value as well as the error. So either one of this be undefined. In case of success, error will be undefined, and in case of error, value will be undefined. So yeah, you can handle this however you feel like. And here I have just created one button, touchable opacity, and on click of it we call the authenticate method. So I will just add it over here, and here I have created one more text. So as soon as the app is launched, we call this get available biometric method, which will tell us what kind of authentication we have. So I will just paste it over here. Okay, and we also need to import touchable opacity from React Native. So I will now quickly run our application. So for iOS, you can use this particular command. You can use the simulator as well. I will use the simulator and tell you how to do face authentication using the simulator. So now this will take little bit of time. So once the app is ready, I'll come back. Okay guys, so as you can see, here is my app running on the iOS simulator, and as soon as my app has been run, it is telling me that I have face authentication on my iOS simulator. Okay, now to authenticate, I'll just before you click on authenticate, you need to enroll inside face authentication, right? If you are on real device, the user might have already enrolled. So for a simulator, you will have to go to features, you will have to go to face ID, and at the very top you will see enrolled. So click on that, then I will click on this authenticate button, and here you will see that it is asking me for permission. I'll click on allow, and then it is presenting me with the face ID. Now again I'll click on features, face ID, and here first I will give matching face. And once I give matching face, if I go to my Metro bundler, here you can see biometric authentication successful. The second one which you see is for error, it is undefined. Now suppose if I again click on authenticate, now again I go to features, face ID, non-matching face, it gives me this pop-up, and I'll click on cancel, and here you can see the error, the success was undefined, but in the error we get authentication cancelled. So that's it for iOS. Let's have a look for Android. So here is my app running on a real Android device. I will request you to test it on a real Android device, don't test it on the Android emulator. I will close this, and here you can see it is telling me I have face authentication. Now the problem with this, I do have face authentication. I am using a Samsung device. Now the problem with Android is that even though I have face authentication, the biometric API which we are using for Android can't do face authentication. The reason is that the face authentication API, according to my knowledge, only works on Google Pixel devices. It does not work on any other devices which are not from Google, like Samsung. It won't work even though you have face authentication. The reason is that the face authentication is implemented in different ways depending on the OEM which you are using. Like Samsung will implement in different ways, Xiaomi will implement in different ways, OnePlus will implement in different ways. So even though it is telling me I have face authentication, I can't really do face authentication using the biometric API. So now but I don't have fingerprint on my device, but I do have set pin for my particular device. So whenever I have to unlock my device, I have to enter the pin. So now if I click on authenticate, here you can see it is telling me to enter my pin. Now you are not able to see the pin. Yeah, I think because I am doing mirroring, I'm mirroring my device on the Mac OS, but I'll just enter my pin. Due to security reasons it blocks, and if I click on continue, here you can see I'm able to see my screen, and if I show you my output, this is the result, and error is undefined. Similarly, if I click on authenticate, I will just click on cancel, and here you can see for success I'm getting undefined, but for error I'm getting authentication error, authentication cancelled. So yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching. Bye.